Oh, well, good morning. Recently I asked if you guys would like a Q&A video. You overwhelmingly said yes, so for this past week you have been sending in your questions. Today I get to answer those questions. Also, if you'd like a Specky mug or a Specky hoodie or a Specky t-shirt or something, I've got a Teespring store. You may not know about it. It's available. You can check out the website in the description down below. Go and have a look if you want to support the channel, if you fancy getting yourself some sweet merch. Anyway, let's get on with the questions right now. First question from Randomly Set. Do you know who I am? Unfortunately, yes, I do. That's Matt from the Detailing World channel. He is determined to be well known. He really wants to walk into his local Halfords and have them pop confetti and put out the red carpet for him. It's not going to happen, Matt. Sorry. The other question he asked was, have you tried the new colour changing wax yet? If you haven't checked out that video, don't go expecting them to be a colour changing wax. It's just a very, very clever bit of video editing. It was an April Fool's joke. He has, you know, this stolen Adobe Creative Cloud account that he uses to do all the fancy stuff. Go and check that out though. Another question, have you tried mixing products to make a super product? This is something that was mentioned in a previous video where I tried a product and I really liked it. Somebody commented and said, why don't you use that and split that 50-50 with another good product? I think, if I remember right, it was Sonax Extreme Brilliant Shine Detailer, BSD, and the Turtle Wax Sealant Hydrophobic Wax. I think that was it. No, I haven't tried it yet, but I believe someone in the comments said they had and it worked well. I am going to give it a bit of a try. I'm just waiting for some empty spray bottles so that I can mix up some of these dilutions. I do want to do a bit of cocktail making though. Garage Therapy channel asks, how important is suds in a shampoo for you? When is too little or too much a problem? And I would say neither are a problem. I've never thought to myself this is too much suds. I've also not really ever thought to myself this is too little suds. Because at the end of the day, as long as the detergent works, that's important to me. What I would say, what's very important to me right now is a good detergent and good slickness. They are very important. I did mention this in my favorites video. If you want to go and check out that video, it's about my favorite products. But with Garage Therapy, they know full well. They've got a very, very slick shampoo. They've got a few slick shampoos and I love them. I really love them. So I would say too little suds. The suds factor does not equate to a quality of shampoo. If it has less suds, doesn't mean it's a bad shampoo, just means it has less suds. If it has more suds, it doesn't mean it's a really good shampoo, just means it's got more suds. They've basically just added some foaming agents to it. Does it mean that it is better or worse? No, the two are not equal. The two do not equate to each other. So in that respect, it's not really that important to me for being too little or too much. I like a nice balance, but the slickness has to be there. There has to be some good lubrication in a shampoo for me. I've had a long chat with with Maz from Garage Therapy about this. Next question, Clay Mitt or Clay Bar? Which brands to use or avoid? If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know I really like Clay Mitts, especially since I got hold of the G3 Pro Deep Clean Clay Mitt. I love it. It's super fast, it's super easy, it's super safe. It's much safer than a normal clay bar, mainly because a clay bar, if you drop it on the ground, it's basically dead. Throw it in the bin. Don't try and use it again, because it will grab hold of everything. Clay mitts, they will grab your contaminants, but then they can be rinsed off, they can be washed off. You can use it again and again. It means that it will last longer. G3 Pro claim 5 times longer than a normal clay bar. Clay bars certainly have their place. They can be more aggressive. They can, you know, vary in their ability, their aggression. But I like the fact that a mitt is a larger working surface area, so it covers a panel quicker. And yet if you drop it, you can rinse it off and carry on using it, which is great. It's just easier to work with because it's a mitt. You don't have to worry about holding a small piece of clay which could easily slip out of your hand. So I do prefer a mitt over a bar, but clay bars certainly do have their place in things like alloy wheels weird creases in your bodywork, places that a mitt might not be able to fit, you can shape a clay bar to get in there. It's a bit more accessible. So as far as brands go, I haven't used enough of them to be able to give you a definitive answer on that. I've got the G3 Pro Mitt, I've got the mitt that came in the Because race car box. I also have 2 different clay bars, a McGuire's and an Autoglim. They're all good. Next up, Dave from the Detailing of the Beast channel asks, if you could only use one brand for the rest of your days, what would it be? I gave this a little bit of thought the other day and it wasn't really difficult to come up with it. Garage Therapy, just because their products have blown me away since they came out. They really have. It was thanks to my mate Paul Dolden, who pointed me to them. He said, you gotta try this. So I bought some. The guys from Garage Therapy also very kindly sent me some. I've also been involved with them as far as the development of their latest ceramic sealant, which has been incredible. Yeah, I would just go with them because their products are at the sweet spot. Quality is there. The pricing is there. I think the prices are good. They are solid. I think the flexibility of the products is there. The value for money as far as the dilutability goes. The Zero Decon shampoo can be used as a snow foam, as a pre-wash, as a wheel cleaner, as a glass cleaner. The other shampoos are there for your wheels. You've got a shampoo for your bodywork for maintenance. You've got the detailing spray for in-between top-ups of cleansing, and it is a cleansing detailing spray. The ceramic sealant will be your longer term protection, but they've got 5 products and I would be very happy to only just use those as far as cleaning the car goes and adding a little bit of shine. As far as things like dressings, they haven't come out with anything yet. I'm not entirely sure if they are going to make a dressing of any sort, but it would be interesting to see where they go from here. But 3CS was the latest product. I'd be interested to see what comes next. But so far, if I was just about cleaning the car and looking after the paint and protecting the paint, ignoring the wheels, the tires, the plastics, and even then, I mean, that works well on plastics. The detailing, quick detailer works very well on plastics. But as far as dressings are concerned, I'd have to go with something else. But for cleaning the car, definitely Garage Therapy. He also asks, what does your missus think about you having a successful OnlyFans page? This came up in a live Instagram video chat that I had, where we were talking about raising money, you know, support, how finances work, and somebody said, get an OnlyFans page. It's not happening, Dave, but if it ever does, I'll make sure you're the first subscriber, alright? Next up, can you add subtitles? No. But on a more serious question, he asks, in terms of buying a new detailing spray, an old type detailer or an SiO2 type detailer? Bit interesting, that one. I would say probably an old type detailer. SiO2 detailers are, well, they are all about adding protection, and I think some of them seem to forget the purpose of a detailing spray, which in my opinion is cleansing. So you've washed your car, you've dried your car, you go around it with a detailing spray to pick up any watermarks, any smudges or smears or streaks or anything that was left over after the drying process, to help just make sure you've got that shine. Now some of them have gloss enhancers in them, which is great, something that you can use in between. Now I understand a detailing spray with some protection in it like SiO2 will help to add more gloss and shine and give you that repellency, you know, the in-between protections. So you've got your base coat of protection, you then use a detailing spray in between times for the next however many months before you need to apply your next replacement coat of protection. So there's that. I think I would prefer to have one which has more cleansing ability. If you haven't already checked out my favorites video, it does mention that Garage Therapy 2 Quick Detailer is one of my favorites, if not my very favorite. I'm not entirely sure. It's awesome because it has shampoo and sealant in it. The sealant doesn't last super long, so having that shampoo in it is more of a cleansing ability. It does depend on what I'm looking for. Quick detailers can be a fantastic way of topping up protection or just adding protection where there wasn't any before. But personally, I would say a traditional detailer rather than an SiO2 most of the time. Next question, what is your day job? If you haven't already figured this out, and it was actually mentioned by my uncle when I was in the video where we were out driving If you haven't seen it, my uncle's a driving instructor. He taught me to drive 21 years ago. So I took a video out in the car with him and we drove around Aberdeen and he assessed my driving again, which was fun. He mentioned it there, but I might as well answer it. I drive a bus. That's as much as I could say. I drive a bus. That's it. Next question. How's the sheep coping with the lockdown? Well, honestly, I haven't really heard any of them complaining about the long queues at Tesco, so far so good, thanks very much. My brother from another mother, Paul Dolden, he asks, if you could choose a car to detail, what would it be? Fantastic question. And I would say it would have to be something which is already a beautiful car, that just needs some love and lifting, just lifting the looks. I don't want a basic car. I don't really enjoy making my little Kia Rio look nice because it's rusty and there's bits missing off it and it's old and it's basic. I want to detail a car which is already gorgeous and it just needs that extra lift, an enhancement polish, a mild correction, gloss enhancing, cleaning up, getting the wheels perfect and shiny and the tires shiny, and I just want to take it from looking like a standard beautiful car to a beautiful, shiny. So probably something like an E-Type Jaguar, a Mark II Jag. Classic Jags are something that I really love. They're some of the most beautiful cars, I think. So something like that, something that evokes that style from that period. Something classic British would be nice. Even an MG or a Triumph or something of that era that is already a gorgeous looking car and just needs that little bit to take it from 90-95% up to like 98-99%, where people they don't just look at it and say, hey, that's a nice classic car. They go, wow, look at that, someone's taken some time on that. That's the kind of thing I would love to detail. Danny from the Valleys, he asks, if you could own any 3 cars, what would they be? I've always wanted to own a Ford Capri, always. I've just always loved Capris. Probably a Mazda MX-5. I've really enjoyed my father's E-Class Mercedes estate. I love it. I love it. It's such a fantastic car. One of those, top spec, diesel, automatic, got all the toys, practicality, just super easy to live with. Yeah, I really like that. Something like that as a daily driver would be fantastic. Then the Capri for the special show car, and the MX-5 for the weekend fun car. Bill Wallace asks, what would be your dream car? I don't really have a dream car, which is kind of sad. Probably the Capri, to be honest. If I had to choose one car to have, I'd really want a good Nick Capri, one that I could look after, just give loads of love, make it look nice, keep it looking nice, and just take it out every now and then, detail it to the maximum, something like that. I wouldn't just want something modern and technological. Yes, you can have your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris, your all sorts of stupid things. I'd rather go back to basics and have something that's a bit more classic. So probably the Capri at the moment. If anybody's got a free Capri in good condition, thanks very much. My sister asks, where's my phone call last week? Sorry. Next up, do you have a fetish for the Kia Rio? No, but it's a good wee car, and you know, the missus, she had a Rio before I did, and that Rio, that little diesel one I've got, came up really cheap, and I don't need anything fancy for just driving to and from work. I have a long drive to get to work every day. I wanted something that was cheap to buy, cheap to run, cheap to insure, cheap to everything, and that just came up, and I knew the Rio was a good car, it's a good size for the family, and yeah, I don't have a fetish for it, it's just a good wee car. But he also goes on to ask, what's your go-to brand for certain products, such as tire dressings? I don't really have a go-to brand. If you watch my favorites video, that will cover dressings for what I like, but what I will say is, for matte dressings, I like the Infinity Wax plastic and rubber wax. For shiny and glossy dressings, the Valeting products, Super Slick, or the Geon Q2 tire, both great shiny glossy tire dressings. Something like that, but I don't really have a go-to brand. I'm fortunate enough to have all these products that I can pick and choose what kind of mood I'm in. I have products which will allow me to cater for that mood. Next up, SivikE from the SivikE YouTube channel. When did you start really getting into detailing, and also why? Slightly lengthier question, I'll try and get through it quickly. About 2013, roughly, I had a little Hyundai i20. I loved that wee car, it was a good wee car, it was red. And I was washing it one day and I could see tar spots, but I didn't really know what they were, and I did a bit of Googling and that's what they turned out to be. So I Googled then, how do I get rid of these things? And it ended up showing me a couple of YouTube channels talking about decontamination. I followed some of this advice. I went out and bought a bunch of decontamination products. I bought a clay bar, a tar remover, an iron fallout remover, and I went at it with the car. I also bought a second bucket because I was just washing with a normal builder's bucket and a sponge. So I went and bought a second bucket. I went and bought a wash mitt and I started cleaning the car properly, washing it, paying attention to what I was doing, then decontaminating it. I spent a good 5 or 6 hours on that car on that one day. It was a Saturday, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It totally made me look at cleaning the car in a different way. I was able to see how much I was getting back because the car just looked incredible, but then I started noticing all the swirl marks that were on it because somebody else pointed out this is where you get swirl marks from clay bars and things like that. And it made me think about that, and it made me then look into polishes. And essentially what happened is I fell down the rabbit hole of car care and detailing, and I just thought to myself, this is for me, this is my kind of thing. I do geek out about certain things. And this was really for me. It satisfied curiosities for me. It was something new to learn. That's really what got me into detailing, was just cleaning the one car and watching a few videos and reading a few bits and realizing that there is a whole load more to detailing and looking after your car at home than just a bucket and sponge. So that's where it came from. My mate Rog asks, Mr. Miyagi's detailing skills were lit. Do you agree? I think for the time, probably. I don't know if anyone was really into that much of detailing at that particular time, but yeah, probably. Although looking at it now, wax on and wax off, this was big. He was waxing far too big an area and buffing far too big an area, and I'm sure the waxes weren't exactly easy to use back then. I'm sure they weren't that refined. So were they lit? Maybe for the time, but in modern terms, no. Apparently, my son wants to ask, why do you like washing cars so much? And I think it's catharsis. It's a cathartic act to be able to wash the car. I get time out of the house. I get to have time with my own thoughts. I can think about whatever I'm thinking about. Generally, I'm thinking about the next YouTube video or product reviews or what am I going to do next. But it just gives me time on my own to wash the car. I enjoy it. It's nice. There's also the pleasure aspect, the satisfaction, washing a car, and then once it's all done and it's clean and shiny, it's not just about washing it, it's about making it look nice too. Washing it, walking away from it, and then looking back at it and looking and saying, that looks good, I'm pleased with myself, I'm proud I was able to do that. You know, and other people might look at that and go, wow, that's a clean looking car. That's some of the reasons why I enjoy it so much. My ex-wife asks, when are you going to do a full Joe Wicks workout? Because I was complaining the other day that my thighs were hurting because of too many squats. Probably never. I might do halves. I could get away with half. I'll do 15 minutes, but half an hour, come on. Next question, Sonax BSD or detailed online SiO2 gloss detailer? Difficult one to answer that one because it depends on the mood I'm in. So the detailed online SiO2 gloss detailer is a very good gloss detailer. It adds some shine, it adds some gloss, it adds some protection. It's very nice, it's very fast to use, it's very easy. Just simple. Smells fantastic. The Sonax BSD, I mentioned this on my favorites video. Thicker, more difficult to use, but the beading is by far and away its most amazing feature. So I would say in more wet conditions, when I really want to enjoy those beads, when they sit like little globes on top of your paint, that's the one I'm going to go for. I'm going to choose BSD. If it's the summertime and I'm looking for something quick to just wipe over the car very quickly, give it some shine and gloss, give it some protection, then maybe that's when I would choose the detailed online product. But I would never just choose one or the other. It would just depend on the circumstance, what I'm looking for, what kind of mood I'm in at that particular time. My sister also mentioned, you have really good hair. Thanks. Yeah, it's dark and thick. Oh, she said it's dark and thick. Yes, I have dark, thick hair, but it's really short right now because, you know, of everything going on. I couldn't get to the barber. So, yeah, thanks. Next, have you ever or could you test a DI filter for final rinse and no drying? I could, I never have, but I could. A DI resin filter, for those of you who don't know, it's basically a filter which removes all the particulates from the water supply, because when you rinse your car off and then you leave it wet, you'll get water spots. Those water spots are caused by all the stuff, all the particulates that are in the water. When it beads on your car, they're all in there. When that water evaporates away, all the stuff that was in the water is left, all the mineral content and anything else is left on your paint, and that's a watermark, that's a water spot. So these filters, you put them in, you plug them in for your final rinse down, and they have nothing in them. You can get them with 0 parts per million, which means when you rinse your car off with that, you're rinsing off all the other water, all the soap and anything else. Generally you would rinse it off with normal water, then plug in your filter, rinse it off again. What you'll get is water which has nothing in it, meaning when it evaporates away, it leaves nothing behind. I would like to try it. I've never tried it before, but I'd be very interested. If any of you have any contacts, anyone who might be able to help me out with that, I'd be really interested in trying that. That's a very interesting idea. Next, what do you think about the pedestrianisation of Norwich city centre? I have a statement in that regard. I'll be honest, I'm dead against it. People forget that traders need to get to Dixon's. They do say it will help people with wheelchairs. Next up, when it comes to winter road grit, what would you consider to be the best cleaning products to use? A must-have, so to speak. A must-have. First must-have, a pressure washer. Beyond all else, a pressure washer. You want to be able to push off as much dirt as possible from your car. Just giving you that help. You want to make your winter wash procedure safer, because winter grime is horrible. This part of the world, we have lots of grit. Lots of salt and sand and all sorts of whatever they put into the grit, and it gets caked on your car. It's horrible. So definitely a pressure washer. Try and blast as much of that off the car as possible. Then a good pre-wash product, a good traffic film remover, for example, or a high alkaline snow foam maybe. I use things like Built Hamber Surfex HD or the Garage Therapy Zero Decon, and maybe then an alkaline snow foam to go on top of that. Built Hamber's Auto Foam. The Garage Therapy can be used as a snow foam. Also, I've got Valet Pro Combo 2, which is an alkaline snow foam. Products like these, which are designed to eat at some of the dirt. And it also helps if you're putting a traffic film remover on there, then you put a snow foam on top of it. It stops the TFR from drying out and just gives it that little bit of extra welly. So I would definitely say those are the must-haves. A good pre-wash product, which is powerful, not pH neutral. It's got to be something more powerful. And a pressure washer for sure. Then definitely 2 buckets and maybe 3 or 4 different wash mitts to be very, very careful and safe. But the must-haves: pressure washer, TFR, or good strong pre-wash. Next, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. But would you? Thanks, Stu. I consider Meatloaf to be a relatively good judge of character, so if he wouldn't, then I'm gonna say no, I wouldn't either. What's your day job? We've already covered that. Favorite glass cleaner, favorite wheel cleaner. Cheers for the videos. Thanks very much. Glass cleaner, either Stoner's Invisible Glass or Sam's Detailing Glass Cleaner. Both excellent products. Go back and check my favorites video and you'll see I talk about both of these in a bit more detail. So those are my favorite glass cleaners. The favorite wheel cleaner, if I had to pick one, I can't. I can't just pick one. It's got to be for the particular job at hand. So I can't really do that. Go back and check my favorite videos, my favorites video, and you'll see why I talk about a few different wheel cleaners, what they're about. Next, best beginner polisher to buy and best pads / compounder polish to get into machine polishing. I'm not into machine polishing enough yet to give you massive amounts of advice. Best beginner polisher, I started with probably the cheapest you could buy, which is this thing. This was from Argos. They still have this thing, but they've changed the branding. On this one, it says Challenge Extreme. They're now called Guild, I believe, but it's basically the same machine. If you look at the pictures, they're identical. And this was a great starter unit for me. It's basic, it does the job. It is 600 watts, it's relatively low power. It's dual action, which means it's the safer type to start to learn machine polishing before you move on to something like the rotary polishers. It's a good start. It was £60. It's a good price, and then you can adapt them. This one's been adapted. Normally it comes with it comes with a 7-inch backing plate, but I bought a 5-inch backing plate, which is up there, And then I put on this one, which is a 3-inch backing plate, so I could put smaller pads on there and work in slightly smaller areas, things like pillars and so on, where you can't use a massive pad. So there's some flexibility there, so that's a good one to start with. Alternatively, if you want a better one, a better quality one, look for a thing called a DAS 6. DAS 6 would be the kind of thing if you want something which is just a better quality device. But that thing's not bad as a starter polisher. Best pads, compound or polish to get into machine polishing. Pads wise, I don't have any fancy pads. I bought cheap Chinese pads from Amazon. I think they were the SPTA branded pads. They're fine, they're actually good pads, they're solid, they last a decent amount of time. They haven't fallen apart on me yet, the backing is decent. I've got one over here. They are a copy of the Chemical Guys Hex Logic pads, like that. This one happens to be a very light, might be a finishing pad if I remember rightly. Very, very, very soft. But I mean, the backing has not come off yet, it hasn't moved. The pads are still in good quality condition. So they're decent to get you started with. As far as the polishes are concerned, compounds, things like that, I would start learning with an all-in-one polish because it's going to be the least aggressive, just to get you used to working the machine. So something like Auto Glim Super Resin Polish, Auto Finesse Triple, they both work fine by machine if you've got the experience to use it. If you don't, go and get yourself a spare panel, you know, a scrap panel from a scrap heap, something like that, you know, a wing, a bonnet, a door, whatever. Get some practice to learn the machine. Watch some videos to give you some advice. I may end up doing a video about getting into beginner machine polishing at some point. Get some experience with using the machine, read up what you can about them. Then when you go to start using it on the car, start with the least aggressive possible. So you start with a finishing pad or a very, very mild polishing pad. You start with an all-in-one polish, and that will help you to just apply that polish. You're going to remove very light swirls, maybe not much in the way of scratching. You're going to fill and you're going to leave some wax behind. That's the kind of thing you want to start with. And then eventually you can work up to things like, if you're looking for a cutting compound, a good starter which is easy to use is Meguiar's Ultimate Compound, because it's not super aggressive and it doesn't use any diminishing abrasives. It means that this is not one you have to think too much about. Just work it on the panel. Be careful about how much you're working it. I say get some experience and advice before you work on a proper cutting compound. Start off with the least aggressive and get experience with that, get used to that, and then work your way up. Next up, I'm 17 and started looking after my car, watching any material I could get my hands on regarding how to look after cars. Is there anything you wish you knew about looking after cars when you were younger, and how do you rate Auto Glim products? I wish I had known about the 2-bucket method using a wash mitt. But when I was younger, that kind of thing didn't really happen. I mean, you gotta remember, I'm nearly 40 years old. So when I was younger, realistically, I wish I knew about this when I got into cars, when I got my first car, which I think I was 20. Before that, I had a scooter. I really wish I knew about the 2-bucket method and a wash mitt, but wash mitts may not have been available at the time. I wish I had known about looking after the car to avoid adding scratches and swirls. But then again, polishes for the consumer were very rare. Super resin polish was one of the few that was on the market. Otherwise it was something like T-cut, and T-cut was only really for the worst of jobs when you really needed some aggression. So I wish I'd known a bunch of these things back then. I would have had a gleaming car. As far as Auto Glim products, if you're a beginner, they're a great brand to start out with. I have a good selection of Auto Glim products. They've been kind enough to support this channel for a while now. But Super Resin Polish is a great polish. They've got a bunch of great products like their shampoos, their waxes, their sealants, all sorts of things, their wheel cleaners. They've got really good products for beginners. You don't need any special knowledge about how to use them, and that's the nice thing about them. They are consumer products, so they are for the average Joe to walk into Halfords, buy up a selection of products and use them. But keep in mind, it's all about the process. Follow your pre-wash properly. Follow your safe wash properly. I've got videos about these. I'll leave links down below if you want to check them out. But follow good techniques, and then realistically, it won't matter what product you pick up. It could be any brand. A good technique is probably better and more important than just a brand name, a big brand name. You will get good results with most products if you know how to use them properly. Have you any other hobbies? Not really. This is a big hobby of mine. I suppose the only other thing I like to do in my spare time is play games on my PC. That's about it. I like playing things like Grand Theft Auto 5 and World of Tanks, and lately I've got back into PlanetSide 2, and I like a selection of different games. I am a gamer. I've always been a gamer. If I'm not doing something with the car, if I'm not watching TV with the missus, I'm playing games. What's your real name? Not that this is really any of your business, it's not really that important. I'll give you this, my name is Craig. I think most people on this channel know my name is Craig. Thanks to Paul Dolden. Thanks, Paul! He and I talk all the time, and when we first started talking, he found out what my name was, and he started commenting in all my videos. Great video, Craig! And then everybody knew that was my name. Thanks, Paul! So my name's Craig. Is haggis a small animal? If you don't already know this, yes. If you could only use 5 products to clean your car forever, what would they be? I think I've already covered this. If it was 5 products to clean the car, just cleaning, I mean, realistically, Luke from the Tranquility Based Detailing channel, he actually asked this on a poll or something. It was either on YouTube or on Instagram, I can't remember. And he asked how few products could you get away with using to clean your car. And I said to him, for just cleaning, if we're just talking about cleaning, we're not talking about anything else. We're not talking about dressing, we're not talking about accessories, we're just talking about the chemical product itself. I could probably get away with using a single product, and that would be Garage Therapy's Zero Decon Shampoo. I could use this for everything. It's my snow foam, it's a pre-wash. I can dilute it as a wheel cleaner, I can make it a glass cleaner, I can use it as a shampoo on the car. So I can use it for practically everything. Yeah, if I could just get away with using that one product, I could do it. But then, it's nice to have a selection. So I'd probably have all 3 Garage Therapy shampoos to help clean the car, and then an all-purpose cleaner to take care of areas like engine bays and tires, door shuts, places where I'm not going to use any fancy cleaners, things that aren't going to be seen very well. An all-purpose cleaner, and yeah, that's really about it. I can't think if there would be anything else, you know. But if I could squeeze in a 5th product, it would probably be some sort of detailing spray, like one of my favorite detailing sprays. Go back and check out my favorites video, and you'll see all my favorites there. Good question though. Next, what's your thoughts on the Turtle Wax ceramic range compared to the Turtle Wax sealant released last year with its great durability, price point and ease of use? This one I reviewed a long time ago. They released 5 products in total in this lineup range. I reviewed 3. You can go and check that video out if you want. This one I got sent by Turtle Wax. This is the ceramic. So, comparing the two, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm going to say if it was me spending my own money, and I did buy this, I didn't buy this, but if I was spending my own money, I'd probably spend it here and not here. Personal preference. This one has incredible ease of use, longevity, resilience to chemicals, to washing, incredibly hydrophobic, incredibly good price. I paid £8 for this. I've heard some people paying less than £5 for it. It's incredible. This is still a very, very good product. There's nothing wrong with this at all. It's very strong, it's very resilient. But being a ceramic coating, you do need to take more time as far as the preparation is concerned. This one, a light polish with their spray polish, if you've got a black car, which I did that. A light polish, and then put this on, great. This one requires a bit more. If you want to use their polish, you've got to use their ceramic one, which is designed to work with this one. If you want to use this as a ceramic range, these are designed to be put together as a system. So you've got all 5 products. You've got the polish to prepare the paint, you've got the coating to protect the paint, then you've got your maintenance products. You've got the ceramic shampoo, you've got the ceramic wet wax, and the ceramic detailer. They're all designed to be maintenance products for these. So that's a lot of money. Each one of those products is £18. That's a lot of money to go and spend. Realistically, I would say for my money's got to go on the sealant hydrophobic wax. Personally, that's my opinion. Not that the other ones are bad, but I could buy these and a lot more products for a lot less money and still get fantastic results. And it's so easy to use. I wouldn't really worry too much about the slightly longer protection that the ceramic gives you. What's the best place? No, we're not going to cover that one. I don't really know where it is. The person who asked this question, you know what question this is. I don't know. I've never been. I've never tried it. So I can't tell you where the best place is. Sorry. Another question, hi Specky, Q&A question, what started you in cleaning cars and doing reviews on products? We've covered what started me in cleaning cars. As far as doing reviews and products, basically at the time, 2015 maybe, I noticed that there weren't really many people on YouTube making videos for the average Joe. Many people who were reviewing products at the time were making videos for people who were already in the know, people who were already valeters, detailers or enthusiasts. But there weren't many which I felt were that suitable for the average person, the numpty on the street who hasn't really got a clue. People like my father who would literally just go and pick up a bucket and sponge. And I had to try try and explain it to my father, why I like to do it this way. He just looked at it and thought, oh, why, that's a lot of effort and nonsense. Why would you bother with all that? What's the point? And I had to explain it. So for those who are interested in cleaning their cars, I thought maybe I can fill that gap. I just felt there was a bit of a gap there. Not much, it's kind of niche, but I just felt that there was an opportunity for me to explain it to people who were interested in looking after their pride and joy but didn't know how. How do I go about this? And part of it came from my background. I had many years in retail, and the whole purpose of retail is to make sure that your customer understands what the hell you're talking about, so that they know, they're happy with what you have explained to them. They're happy that what you've recommended them to buy is right because you've explained the whole thing, so they don't walk out of there with questions. That kind of carries over with my channel. I don't want to bombard you with jargon. I don't want to confuse you. I want you to understand what I'm talking about. I want to explain it in a layman's terms for you guys so you understand what I'm talking about. I don't want to force a product down your throat. I will be honest and tell you, is this good, is this bad? Or maybe it's a good product, but here's the bad thing about it. I want to be very, very honest. I want you guys to watch my videos and understand exactly what I'm telling you. Not ever leave the video with questions. You know, there are, maybe will be some other questions. Have you tried it on this? That's different. But as far as how the product works, the way it works, I want you guys to understand that. So that's kind of why I ended up starting off the channel. To be fair, I did start the channel reviewing a couple of other things in the past, like a razor and headlight bulbs, and what was the third thing? Oh, a baby monitor, because I wanted a YouTube channel. I just didn't know what it was, and it wasn't until I really got into the car care thing and I thought, yes, this is where I'm going to put that effort into. So I hope I've done that. I hope you guys have seen that from this channel. I really want you guys to understand that if you're a novice, hopefully my reviews can help you get a better understanding of what to do or how a product works, things like that. Another one, I've noticed your Brewdog t-shirts on a few of your videos. Have you ever thought of doing a video on your favourite craft beers? Yeah, I am a bit of a Brewdog fan. There's a Brewdog hat, and actually under here is my Brewdog shirt. No. Short answer, no, because I don't drink enough beer. I'm not a massive beer drinker. I like the brand. I support the brand of Brewdog. They're a local company to me. They started out just up in Fraserburgh, which is not massively far away from where I live just now, and then they moved down to Ellen. I used to live in Ellen. Yeah, I like the brand, I like the way they do things, and they were the first company to really make a beer that I enjoyed, which was 5 AM Saint. It's my favourite beer. It's a red ale, and I absolutely love it. So realistically, if I was to buy some beers from Brewdog, 5 AM Saint, Quench Quake, which is a sour, maybe Punk from time to time if I'm really in the mood. It's an IPA. I'm not the biggest IPA fan, to be fair. It's not bad as IPAs go. I like Jet Black Heart, which is a stout. I like a stout. I like a chocolatey stout, a malty stout, things like that. And I'm sure there's something else that I've forgotten. There's a couple, but yeah, I'm not the biggest beer fan. I like a cider more often than I like a beer, to be honest. You know, I really like that Brothers Toffee Apple cider. Brothers, if you're watching, by the way. Some people have also noticed I drink a lot of Tango. I drink loads of Orange Tango. Britvic, if you're watching. Tango, send me some. Yeah, I would just rather drink something which tastes nice. In fact, to be honest, I probably only drink once or twice a month. And if I do, it's more often than not, it's a Baileys. Baileys, if you're watching. I love a Baileys. Sorry, it's just... But craft brews, nah. Last question. Are you going to set up a Patreon? I've got my thoughts and opinion about Patreon. Now, I'm not bashing anybody who has a Patreon. If you support somebody on Patreon, then that's awesome. Show your support. That's amazing. My issue with Patreon is there are many where you have different tiers of support. Pay $1 a month just to support that person. Awesome. I like that. That's fine. If you just want to give that person $1 a month just to help them along with the channel, awesome. I got no issue with that. That's fine. But it's when you start promising extra content, extra things. You know, I'm going to put out an extra video just for my patrons. I'm going to have a chat just for my patrons. To be fair, I will not have, once this whole thing is over, because at the moment I basically cannot go to work. I'm an at-risk category, living with someone who is in an at-risk category as well. So I can't go back to work yet. While I'm not at work, I have time to make videos. Once I go back to work, I will go back to only having every other weekend available to film. And there could be things which interfere with that. Family commitments or illnesses or anything else that comes up could interfere with that, and then I'm going to be struggling to put out that content. If I can't film stuff for the main YouTube channel, then how am I going to be able to make this extra bonus content? That would be an issue for me. YouTube has always been a platform that is freely available to everybody. If you want to make content, go for it. It's free to produce that content. It's free for someone to consume that content. That's why I'm happy with YouTube. I'm happy with people being able to see my videos for nothing. Now, I do earn a little bit of money from the advertising revenue, which is nice. I don't get loads of money. I don't earn much at all. It goes up to a certain amount, and once you hit that certain number, then you get paid. The last time I got paid, I hadn't been paid for 3 months because it hadn't got there yet. So I'm really not earning much money at all from this. It was never the purpose. It was never the purpose to actually make money on it. But if I can get some money to basically cover costs, if I want to go and buy a product and try it, to buy something that you haven't seen before, or buy something you've been asking for, yes, there are companies who will send me things, and I'm super grateful for any company that sends me anything. However, there's going to be some things that I want to try that companies are not going to be interested in sending to me. I'm just a teeny tiny channel. I am super small. They're not really going to be interested in that. With that in mind, if I could get some money to help pay for some of these things to buy, to cover the costs instead of coming out of my pocket all the time, which it had for a very long time, then that would be great. But I wouldn't want to set up some sort of Patreon or funding scheme where I was going to promise extra stuff. I would rather just say, would you like to support? I'm not going to promise that you get anything bonus or anything extra from it. It's just a case of, would you like to support the channel? Nothing more than that. If you would like to support what I do, then maybe yes, I'll go down that route. But I'd love to know what you guys think about this. It's a very interesting question. It's kind of controversial at times. I would just say I would do it to help me cover my costs more than anything else. But yeah, tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. It'd be really, really interesting. That's all for this channel today. Make sure you follow me on Instagram for other content, other things going on behind the scenes and so on. But if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. If you are new here, please subscribe, and while you're there, make sure you ring the notification bell. Thank you all very much for your questions. It's been very interesting. In the meantime, I've been Specky. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.